Some breaking news this afternoon. Daytona International Speedway confirms that the 2021 edition of the Daytona 500 will not be run with packed grandstands. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric and welcome to Out of the Groove. Just wanted to pop in and say hello. We really only have one thing to talk about in today's episode, one big story that broke just a couple hours ago. We'll talk all about that in just a moment. I hope you all are having a good week. I also want to give a shout out to the Snowball Derby. I saw on social media cars are being unloaded for this year's race. A lot of NASCAR drivers have made the trip down to Pensacola, Florida to compete in the Super Bowl of super late model racing. Kyle Busch, Chase Elliott, Noah Gragson, Grant Enfinger, Ty Majeski, among many others actually that have ties to NASCAR are competing in the race this week. So if anyone's down in Florida and has the chance to go see the race this week and any of the action this week, I'm jealous. Hope you have a good time. I'd love to make it out to Five Flag Speedway one of these years, hopefully sooner rather than later, but we're talking about another major Florida race. The big story today is that the Daytona 500 will not have full grandstands for the 2021 race, which confirms that the start of the 2021 NASCAR Cup Series season is going to look at least somewhat similar to the end of the 2020 NASCAR Cup Series season. Daytona International Speedway made the announcement today. Of course, the reason for all this is the pandemic, is coronavirus. Daytona said in a tweet, "The fans at track and at home create the energy of the Great American Race. While we unfortunately won't be able to have everyone here with us in 2021, your support and passion will still be felt in February." This is big news, of course, for a number of reasons. Daytona International Speedway typically seats around 101,000 fans. That's just in the grandstands. And it's worth noting, after reading several reports after actually going onto Daytona's website, there is no word yet as to how many fans exactly will be allowed in the stands. They do say on their website that they are going to make sure there's at least 6 feet of space between groups. We'll talk more specifics in a moment, but no actual number has been given. It's worth noting that the Daytona 500 is scheduled for February 14th. The Super Bowl is being held just a few hours west in Tampa, Florida. That game is being held on February 7th, and the NFL has already announced that the grandstands will be at 20% capacity for that game. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers Stadium seats, I think, around 60,000 people, so expect anything between 10,000 and 15,000 fans to be in attendance for the Super Bowl just a week before the Daytona 500. I think we'll have more than 10,000 or more than 15,000 fans at Daytona. If I had to guess, which means take this with a grain of salt, Florida has consistently been one of the more aggressive states when it comes to keeping businesses open during the pandemic. I expect Daytona to have at least a similar number as what Texas had at the end of this last season. Texas Motor Speedway in October had 25 to 30,000 fans in the stands. I think we'll see at least that many at Daytona. That's just a guess. I don't have any inside information, so obviously wait and see and listen for updates, of course, from official sources from the track itself. But this is huge news. Obviously, the Daytona 500 is NASCAR's biggest race. It's the Super Bowl of stock car racing. The Super Bowl, man, it's getting a lot of plugs in this episode. And unfortunately, this breaks a streak of 5 straight sellouts for the Daytona 500. Ever since Daytona finished their Daytona Rising project before the 2016 season, the last 5 Daytona 500s have sold out their grandstands. So that's been pretty freaking awesome. It's not going to happen in 2021. There's no specifics given as to how this may affect the Truck, Xfinity, or even ARCA race, like Speed Weeks leading up to it, the Busch Clash. On their website, they just say that Speed Weeks will also feature limited capacity in the grandstands. Again, no specific numbers being given, so it's hard to say for sure. But this is very disappointing news. I mean, it wasn't unexpected. I mean, we're only a little over 2 months away from the race happening. Some local governments around the US have tightened their restrictions recently. There's obviously talk of, a potential vaccine being perhaps widely distributed by the beginning of 2021, which is obviously fantastic news. But with the Daytona 500 being so early in the year, mid-February, I think Daytona and NASCAR are making the safe bet that COVID-19 is still going to be a thing that people are concerned about a couple months away from now. It's a really difficult decision. If you're in NASCAR's position or if you're in Daytona's position, you do not want to wait until the very last minute to announce that the Daytona 500 is going to have 30% capacity. More than 100,000 people each year buy tickets to this race. Thousands more camp out on the infield throughout the week. It's in the best interest of NASCAR and of Daytona to make this announcement early and give those thousands of people ample time to plan, to alter their travel arrangements, whatever the case may be. You got to get that information out as soon as possible. So unfortunately, this just puts Daytona and NASCAR in the impossible position of trying to predict the future several months in advance, something that I don't think anyone has accurately been able to do in 2020. So while I hate that this is happening, and obviously I want fans back at the track as soon as possible in as large of numbers as possible, and of course as safely as possible, I'm also realistic, and I understand why now was the right time for Daytona and NASCAR to make this announcement. Now, for those of you who may have tickets for the Daytona 500, or those of you who may still be interested in attending the Daytona 500 this year, the track did give out some details as to what you may want to do next. If you already bought tickets to the 2021 Daytona 500, if you go on Daytona's website, you will have the option to opt out of 2021, and instead your tickets will carry over to 2022 free of charge. However, I looked at the website, and apparently the deadline to do that is December 11th, so you only have about a week or so to make that change if you so choose. If you do plan to keep your tickets for the 2021 race, Daytona announced that they will be reseating many people to ensure groups are several feet apart and properly distanced in the grandstand. So if you do have tickets, expect to be moved somewhat. That's similar to how things worked in 2020. The couple races I went to late in the year, like Bristol for the All-Star race in July, I bought tickets, it was general admission, and then like a week before the race, they sent everyone a message saying what section, what seat you'd actually be in, and it was kind of luck of the draw. Luckily at Bristol, there's really not a bad seat in the house. Daytona's maybe a little bit different, sure, so I'm not entirely sure how they're going to manage reseating people based on what tickets they may have already bought. I'm not sure how that's going to work, but I'm sure Daytona International Speedway would be willing to answer any questions you may have. Now, if you don't have tickets for the Daytona 500 and you are now interested in going to the 2021 race, there is an option on their website for you to give the track your information, and they will notify you if tickets become available. So it's a little convoluted, but I think it's easy enough to understand. I know some people that are planning to go to the Daytona 500 this next year that kind of had to reorganize some of their plans here in just the last few hours with this latest news, but yeah, it just is what it is. That's kind of all you can really say about 2020. I think anyone who thought that everything was going to go back to normal January 1st, 2021 was a little too optimistic, perhaps. It's going to carry over into 2021 a little bit. Major sporting events are going to be slow to come back. I have it on good authority, though, that NASCAR plans to be one of the leaders in getting fans back to the track, back to the facility, to the venue. I mean, they were in 2020, so it's no surprise they would be bullish about their 2021 plans, but I do know that if and when local governments begin to allow mass crowds or outdoor sporting events to return to normal capacity, NASCAR will be first in line among major sports to make it happen. I'm not going to try to put a timetable on things, but hopefully by middle of next season, hopefully by the summer, maybe sooner, you never know, hopefully things will look a little bit more normal. Something I know we all desperately want to see. I know for me in this channel, trying to plan for next season, I've kind of planned that up until May or June, I don't expect to go to too many races. I'd love to go to Circuit of the Americas in May, the triple header that weekend. I'd love to see that in person. I've been to the track a couple times. I would love to see NASCAR there, so hopefully I can make that happen. Texas in June, of course. I might be there for the All-Star race, but up until at least May, I know for me personally, I have planned to not be at any races. If something comes up, great, but I'm just being realistic, cautiously optimistic, pessimistic. What am I being here? I guess I'm being kind of pessimistic, thinking I'm not going to go to any races until at least May. I don't know what it is. Anyway, yeah, it's tough to plan for 2021, but yeah, the latest news, the Daytona 500, NASCAR's largest event, is not going to have a full grandstands this next season. So that is unfortunate. Daytona 500 is the greatest spectacle in stock car racing, arguably the greatest spectacle in racing, period. I'm sorry, Indy 500. That's a pretty cool event when you get 250, 300,000 people there, but man, Daytona 500 with the pack racing involved, with the fanfare around it, the Daytona 500 is a tough one to beat. I'm biased. I'm obviously a NASCAR fan. I'm just saying. Anyway, it's a huge motorsports event. That's all I'm saying. And it's one that will miss its fans dearly, unfortunately. Anyway, y'all, that's all I've got to talk about in this episode. Let me know what you think of this decision. Was NASCAR too quick? Is this about what NASCAR should have done? Do you have plans to go to the Daytona 500 this next year? Have they changed now? Let me know down in the comments below. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel. We talk NASCAR news pretty much every single day, even during the off season. Of course, a huge thank you to my amazing Patreon supporters. I could not do this show without your tremendous support. Plenty more to come. Hopefully I'm able to announce some pretty exciting videos I'm working on here fairly soon. Still got a lot of work ahead, but hopefully you all see the finished product and hopefully it's fantastic. So thank you all for the support. I will see you all again very, very soon.